Good morning, Neil.
Morning, Gary. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm a bit tired, a bit sluggish. So if I yawn at some point during this, yeah, I was back late last night from doing some work, and I had to be up very early this morning. But I've had my caffeine, and I'm reasonably well stimulated. So yeah, good. Good to see you again.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, it's Friday today, Friday the 8th of November, and we're here today to announce kind of an additional format for our podcast, aren't we? And hopefully something that will complement our other episodes. We
Yeah,
do like to push out the boundaries on our
this
podcast, don't we, Neil?
it's another example, isn't it? I think in
Yeah.
years to come, people will be looking at this as a template for how to push yourself and stretch what is a meager amount of talent and concept into as much as you can, really. Yeah. So this it should be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Thanks for setting expectations.
Yeah.
Um, So, in an earlier episode, I think a couple of episodes ago, we got talking about our love of singles, didn't we? In fact, when we went to Tasty Records, and we were thinking of ways to try and invigorate our love for singles again because we missed
Yes.
it, we missed
Yes.
it.
Yeah. And I think that was quite a good chat we had at Tasty Records about the role of singles and the fact that people just really don't tend to buy them, which is counterintuitive because you think, albums quite expensive, singles are comparatively cheap. So if you want to collect records, why not buy singles instead? But even if you go into record stores, you rarely see them, do you? But they're
Mm.
being released. So this is
They
great. We
are,
can shine a
yeah,
line on it.
yeah, yeah. And I think new releases are slightly different because of the advent of streaming platforms. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think it's worth giving a little bit of history first, which I know you'll like, um, about new releases. Because if you remember back in the day when we were younger, Neil, the UK chart, it's a long time ago, the UK
Mm.
chart ran from Sunday to Saturday, didn't it? And I used to listen to the singles chart religiously every Sunday evening on Radio 1. And then I looked forward to a trip to the local record store on Monday morning to have a look at the new releases and buy something, probably. Did you do something like that?
Yeah, vaguely. I was probably a little bit more agnostic about the charts as a concept. Yeah, and certainly would listen in most weeks. And part of it was, I suppose, almost akin to supporting a football team or something like that, that you wanted to see how the song that you really liked or had bought or the album you got was doing compared to other things. So there was that competitive thing to it. And of course, like everyone, you tried to tape it and realize it was a pretty futile exercise to do. Yeah, but I enjoy. I think the thing I didn't like, and this has always stuck with me in a way that I've not always been the greatest fan of the radio because I dislike having music forced on me that I don't want to listen to. So that's again, it's just my little sad little thing that triggers me. But I like the idea that people were out there buying music in pretty large quantities as well. And it was always great. And I didn't have many bands that I like that tend to do well in the charts anyway. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I was less committed to it, but certainly it was a pretty regular feature of Sunday evenings, probably like most people.
Yeah, yeah, I'm probably the same. There were very few bands that made it to that top 40, but there were the odd one or two that made it. It was almost quite enjoyable to see it happen, rare as it was.
Yeah.
Something about it, and the buying of new music on the Monday, it was almost like a bit of competitiveness to it. In if you bought it the first day it came out, there's something about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, I would. That was less of a thing for me. I don't know. I think I probably tend to buy more albums and singles generally,
Yeah,
um, and I think that's probably why several of the artists I like didn't really tend to figure in the charts. But always quite liked it when someone I did like had a record that was doing well.
yeah,
I saw it as either an affirmation of my great taste, or I thought, well, you know what, the British public have finally come round and realised that I was right, and that they should follow my taste
yeah,
instead.
yeah, yeah.
But I certainly I couldn't go out on a Monday because I was at school as well. So
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
whether you were
yeah.
cut in school, Gary, to go out and buy your
Well,
record.
The secret's out now, isn't it?
Yeah, just yeah,
Yeah,
disappointed, very
yeah,
disappointed.
it shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was then, but things changed in 2015, and people may not know this, but something called Global Release Day came into being. So since then, pretty much all singles and albums are released on a Friday. There may be some exceptions, but pretty much everything is released on a Friday, 1 minute past midnight in every country local time. Music
Prisoners
is
are released. It's a global
released.
release of prisoners across, the
Yes.
planet. 1 minute past midnight. You've
Yeah.
been selected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything.
I can see the benefits, but equally there's some
Yeah.
pretty significant downsides of this. But anyway, I'll be
Yeah.
interested to know how
Yeah.
it panned out.
Well, yeah. Onto the music side of things, it is quite interesting. I think they introduced this rule to address some piracy issues, and I think with the advent of streaming platforms and so on, it was agreed to do this in pretty much every country across the globe. Um, so I, for one, get quite excited on a Friday morning now because I know when I wake up, my streaming platform of choice, Spotify, has picked out all the new releases that thinks I might like and made them available for me. So it's like Christmas for me every Monday, or every Friday morning when I come down. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's quite sweet and quite refreshing that
Thanks.
even at your advanced stage of life, that there is something that weekly you look forward to quite as much as
Little
this.
things, little
Yeah,
things.
yeah, you know. For me, it's whether the New York Times connection puzzle has been released each day as well, and I can wake up and find I haven't done it, and I'm going to do it, and but
Yeah.
no, I take my hat off to you. That's a lovely thing to look forward to, indeed.
And you'll be doing it as well soon, won't you? In fact,
I will.
this morning you did it. In fact, our new podcast segment that we're announcing today, we will be looking at specifically new release singles every Friday morning. And we're going to pick a couple of tracks each that we like the sound of. So we get out of bed, have a listen to
Mm.
new singles. And then we're going to put together a very rough and ready podcast where we talk about very briefly those couple of singles that we've liked the sound of. So there's no waiting around to ponder over the tracks, or we just wake up, see what grabs us on a Friday, record something, and then we give it to the world.
Yeah, and it'll be even rougher than it is normal, which
Yeah,
yeah, most
I'm
people
saying
would be
something.
astonished we could
Yeah,
even achieve that feat. And I really like I like the idea we're going to listen to these new releases every week and prattle on about them. But I'm really pleased and excited that we're going to expand the Four Tracks Good universe. This is the idea of a spin-off and franchise. This is something that really appeals to me. Really appeals to me, and I'm just curious to see where it's going to go. I think
yeah.
after this. So yeah, let's see. Let's go with it. I think it'd be great. I've got some. I think some pretty good choices.
Yeah, yeah,
And some choices that didn't make my list, but yeah, I'm excited to see what you came up with as well. So
yeah. So before we go on to discuss the tracks, I did mention the streaming word there, didn't I, Neil? And
you
some
did.
of our viewers may be scratching their heads a little now, thinking, where have those pretentious vinyl heads gone that we saw in previous episodes? But we do embrace streaming platforms, don't we, Neil?
Mm. Yeah. Well, it's pretty hard not to if you love music, and
Mm.
that's the essence of it. We love
Yeah,
music. And this is the way in which most of it is released. One of the great things about it is you get access to loads of different artists you probably wouldn't otherwise hear in the UK and abroad. And I think that's what's going to be demonstrated when we talk about these new releases as well. So yeah, I can live easily with the fact we're going to access this
yeah,
through a digital format.
yeah.
Hopefully you can.
It complements our love of vinyl, I think.
Exactly.
And I do enjoy using the power of Spotify to help me find new releases. Other stream platforms available, obviously, but
Indeed.
we like those. And it does that based on artists that you follow or you've played previously, or probably some crazy AI algorithm that suggest things in the background.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
good.
Sorry, Gary, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, and I was hoping we could tie this into some of the selections that we've made at our vinyl club, because we've put those into Spotify as playlists, and Spotify is going to work its magic across those playlists to see what we've chosen, and then come up with a selection of new releases every Friday, which will help us find something to talk about.
Mm. Yeah, and I was quite surprised by the choices that it put forward for me, actually. And I was literally scratching my head to wonder why it had chosen those. But hey, I'm happy to be in the lap of the Spotify gods, and to see what gifts they bestow on me. So yeah.
We're not going to limit ourselves purely to that Spotify suggestion. Though we can go outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
But it'd certainly be quite interesting to see or figure out how Spotify came up with those selections. If we do go for one of those, there must be some link to what we played.
Yeah. It feels as though it could have the beginnings of what would have been a film starring Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks in the 80s or early 90s, where we receive this release radar, these selections every Friday, and there is somebody in an office somewhere who is painstakingly choosing the right ones for us as well. That would be a lovely thing to happen, wouldn't it? Some new friendships could be developed. You know, out of this. So maybe this is where we get the film. Maybe we get the film out of 4 Tracks Good, actually. Or we've got to keep thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the tracks. And neither of us know what the other's chosen. It's a complete surprise to us. And there is a remote possibility we've chosen the same track, but that's how it is.
Yeah, indeed.
So, shall I go first with my 2?
Please do.
Yeah. So the first of my 2 selections is by a band called Bad Bad Not Good. Quite well-known band, a favorite of mine, Canadian jazz instrumental band. This single is a collaboration on vocals from Brazilian singer Tim Bernardes. And the new single is called Poeria Cosmica. That's my Portuguese is a little rusty, but I think that's.
We've just lost all those Portuguese and Brazilian viewers. At a stroke.
Poeria Cosmica. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we've lost a few more now, but anyway, carry on. Move on.
It's an absolutely gorgeous track. The vocals on it, they're silky smooth, and the production it's impeccable, and the instrumentation, it's kind of what you'd expect from Bad Bad Not Good, but notched up a bit. And I think they've added maybe some more strings to what they normally do. But it was the perfect track this morning to brighten up what was a very cold, grey November day in Manchester. The sun has just come out. It's the first time I've seen the sun in about 2 weeks. But it was a gorgeous track to start the day, and I really recommend it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of press. I've read a few things about it, actually. Some really good press it's had. So
yeah, really good. So my second selection is from a lesser known band called Otala, who wasn't aware until this morning. And they are a jazz experimental post-rock band, I think, from Nottingham. They use spoken word in certainly this track, and I think some of their other tracks I've had a quick listen to. A bit like the likes of Black Country New Road, and then maybe a little bit more guitar based on some of their other tracks. The new single is called Patchwork. I think it's the second single from an upcoming album. It's interesting why this may have landed in our Vinyl Club release radar. Maybe, I think you chose Black Country New Road in one of our meetings.
I did, yeah.
So maybe there's some link there. And more recently, the Maruja track that I chose, there's a bit of a overlap there, I think, and maybe some touches of Black MIDI in there as well, which I think has been played. But I think this will be right up your street, Neil. So yeah, worth checking out. So that's...
I will do. I mean, I love the 2 studio albums that Black Country New Road have done and a couple that Squid have done. I really like that. And there seems to be that sort of, I won't say it's a new genre as such, but quite a popular field for art to explore this post-rock, jazzy, dare I say, proggy element. English Teachers being probably the most recent band that's been hyped up by the press, isn't it? That's exploring that as well. But so yeah, that sounds great. We look forward to listening to that.
Yeah. So what did you find this morning, Neil?
Well, there is a link with Bad Bad Not Good because they were playing at Primavera Sound in Barcelona in the spring. A festival I went to. One of the artists I saw at Primavera Sound was Ethel Cain, and she's had 1 album out as Ethel Cain, Preacher's Daughter, very highly reviewed. But her new album comes out in January called Perverts, and her brand new single Punish was released today. It is, I mean, in some ways, it's like if she'd listened to Lana Del Rey and thought, you know what, she's a bit too up-tempo, so I need to do something that's a bit slower and more gothic. It's brilliant, though. I mean, it builds with this slow, haunting piano chords, really building the atmosphere up. I don't like to use the word ethereal too much because it's such a good word, but with her ethereal vocal over the top of that, sort of repeated refrains, and about halfway through the guitars come in as well, but it still maintains that slow, haunting, driving tone. It's about 7 minutes long. She wrote, produced all the stuff that's on the album. It's really good. Really recommend it. I'm sure it'll get a fantastic reception when it comes out. It'll be a massive album without a shadow of a doubt. And then I kind of went around the house a little bit for the second choice and actually came across some really interesting other artists. But I settled on a band that I think illustrates why Spotify is quite good for people, even if they're obsessed by vinyl, because it throws up artists that maybe on a tiny label somewhere, they're playing in a garage. The stuff is probably still on SoundCloud, maybe just gone onto Bandcamp. And it's an American trio called Grey Dens. And they've not had an album out so far. Their first EP came out last year when it was simply the guitarist, songwriter, singer, Grady Penner. And then he added a couple more musicians, 2 friends who are sort of bass player and drums. And I think it's their first EP as a trio. That's just, if not about to be released. And the single is called Tell Me. Really loved it. I mean, it's the sort of thing probably most of us at Vinyl Club would like. It's got elements of that stringy acoustic Sunday sort of background, but with a lovely West Coast American vocal over the top. It's brilliant. I mean, on Instagram, they've got about 200 followers. I mean, these guys are tiny. They're not on the radar anywhere at the moment. Still recording their first album, but yeah, they're a band clearly going to go. Well, hard to think they go a long way, but this is a great single anyway. So I'm definitely going to go explore them a bit further. So yeah, it was lovely just to come across this band I'd never heard of. Actually, I really liked it.
Well, I look forward to checking those 2 out. I didn't see those. So much to choose from. But I'll put links to all the tracks that we've chosen in the show notes. And if people like this format, give it the thumbs up. Even better, subscribe to the channel. And we'll hopefully do the same next Friday.
Great. I'll clear the space in my diary. Okay.
Brilliant.
That's great. Thanks, Gary.
See you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.